I'm Luca Giliberti, contributing writer of Gold Derby, joined today by St-Pierre, the writer-director of the live-action short film Les Grandes Claques, also known as Like the Ones I Used to Know, which has been shortlisted for this year's Academy Awards. First off, congratulations. And
thank you.
yeah, and let's actually start right there because this film has now been shown at more than 50 international film festivals, at which it's won numerous awards. So what does it mean to you after all this recognition already to be included in this very exclusive Oscar shortlist?
It is really exciting, for sure. I'm deeply happy, but I would say that most of all, I'm honored to bring my team, the cast and the crew, to be seen, and all their talent to be seen by the members of the Academy and the other people, because it brings a lot of eyes on the film too. So I think that it's what I'm mostly proud of.
Yeah, absolutely. That's wonderful. And before we get into the specifics of the film, I'd be interested in what went into the decision to tell this story specifically as a short film, as opposed to, for instance, a feature film.
I think that the short film is really interesting for me because what is my little obsession in cinema is really to zoom in a really precise moment, a micro moment that could have a meta effect on the life of my characters. And that was I had some offers to take more time in writing as a feature film, and I declined something that I would maybe think a little bit more if I had another offer now, because I had so many times with my character that now I have a lot of things to write about them and about their future and what could happen before. But at this moment, I was interested in really this little micro moment when there's this birth of empathy in someone, when you stop being a child or some kind of a child to become another one, more adult, more mature, and more empathic. So yeah, I really wanted to have a short but really deep story.
Mm-hmm.
I think feature or maybe something like fencing, is that the word?
Yeah,
and,
of course.
and short would be more like a cannon, like
Yeah.
something that hurts in one big in one big impact.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why I'm thinking with this warrior
No, it
vocabulary
makes
right
sense.
now, but I think that it's something like that just pushed me to make a short with this story.
That's fascinating. And that's a perfect segue to the next question, because you have described this film as being one about the birth of empathy. So could you explain that a bit further and also talk about some of the other themes you wanted to explore with this short film and this story?
Yeah, I think that for me it was a coming of age, but I really wanted to do a double coming of age because I wanted to think and talk about how family links impact our capacity to grow. I really think that we are forced to go at the beginning of our life, and yeah, we are impacted by the path of the other members of our family. It's like a beast with multiple heads, you know. We are all on the same road, but with different personality and way to see things, but we sure have to address the same situations for a good amount of time. so I think that when someone is growing in the family, the other one grows too. Well, they have an opportunity to grow. And that was this little thing that I wanted to look at, like how divorce is affecting by the suffering of a parent the kids, but not just in the like miserable way. It also forces us to grow and to be more empathic. And yeah, there's nobody who's bad in this story. There's a lot of awkward people in the family, but they're just not used to this kind of to divorce. They are not used to that.
Yeah.
It's the reason why it's a period movie too. It's the reason why it's in the 80s. It's because I wanted them to be some kind of strangers of that situation. And yeah, so the empathy is for me a really big part of our evolution. And so that was the point of the coming of age. And I really wanted to have that with the daughter and with the father, and they are forced together to do it in the same time.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's a really relatable situation we see in the movie and something that people go through every day. So I think that's incredibly fascinating. And in that regard, you already touched on this a bit. What is significant about this film is that it is exploring these themes that you mentioned in a story that takes place or starts at 10:50 p.m. on Christmas Eve in 1983. So could you elaborate on why you chose specifically this time, this day, and this year to tell the story? You already touched a bit on the year.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes people say like, oh, a Christmas movie, and I'm just like, oh, I'm not sure that it's a Christmas movie, you know, because I really used Christmas as a tool to reveal the family, as it is a tool every year for everyone to reveal our links with the family and what is the situation. And I thought that it could be the same thing in cinema. It could give me also and give us a lot of symbol to reflect all that. You know, there's this symbol of believing in Santa or not. And there's a step in your childhood, like when you stop believing in Santa, you're not in this magic world where you're naive and you can believe that your parents will do like everything to make you think that to make you believe that world is easy. And then Julie is not able to see Santa after this moment when she saw her father suffering. She can just see Gilbert, her uncle, at the end. Like I'm just spoiling all the film. But
it's difficult not to.
Yeah, it's a short, so
exactly.
Just watch it and watch the interview after.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I use Christmas really as a tool and as a revelator. And for me, the 80s were important because it is this specific period, this specific moment when it was like I used to call that the golden age of experimental custody of kids. Like nobody know what to do with that. They used to give the kids to the mother, and the father could have some kind of custody, but it was not really well thinked because it was the beginning of that. And in the family, there was not a lot of people who were in this situation. Like I remember a lot of people ask me if it's autobiographical. Well, I prefer to say autofiction. It's not totally autobiographical, but for sure my parents were divorced when I was young, and I was the only one in my classroom with diverse parents. And it was the same for my sister, just a little older. And we were like that for, I don't know, maybe 5 years during the 80s. So it's also normal that the other member of the family acts in a awkwardly. Can we say that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they are not able to relate to what happened to Denis and Julie. They're just, it's just too far from what they know.
Yeah, absolutely. And because this film takes place over such a short period of time, we as the viewers basically only get this snapshot of these characters' lives. Yet the film works as well as it does because we do get this sense that these people have lived lives and that they do have pasts. So did you create backstories for some of these main characters, or did you, for the most part, leave that up to your actors' imagination?
No, I did.
Yeah, of course.
I don't want to be a control freak, but for sure I did. And
Mm.
I don't know if I told them all what I create
Yeah,
as
of course not.
background for them. We had a lot of discussions, and even the extras, they
Yeah.
knew where they were, they knew
Yeah.
what was the link of family, they knew what was their job, and even like for who they vote.
Wow.
All those discussion, and for me it was really important. Like we just had 4 days of shoot,
Yeah.
and it's really short, and there was kids on the set. There was like 50-person in a small bungalow. We had to shoot like day for night, but also some nights during winter outside. And with kids, you can't shoot more than 8 hours a day. So there was a lot of challenge. And I
Right.
really wanted that everyone will arrive there knowing who they are. And then the Christmas party can begin.
Mm.
And it was like that. It was like a real Christmas party for 4 days. And they had the time to just live with their character. And yeah, but I could say a lot about their backstory. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I can imagine. You can definitely see it in the film. You can see also what the actors are conveying. You can see that there's a past and that they've lived a life, which is very important. And you just mentioned that you worked with a lot of children on this film, most notably, of course, Lilou Roy Lanouette, who plays Julie, and Laurent Lemaire, who plays Mathieu. How did you, as a director, make sure that they understood the weight of this story and of the emotions that they are asked to convey, while also ensuring that they, as children, are still in a protected space?
That's a really good question, and I asked myself this question so many times before shooting. How I will do that. And for me, yeah, the most important thing was that they can keep their child on they
Yeah.
can be like real child during the shooting, because they are real actors. Like Lilou and Laurent, they
Mm-hmm.
are so professional. They did more shooting than a lot of adult actors that I know, and they are really engaged. They are really committed to their um, I don't want to say job, art. They
Mm.
are really committed to their art, and they know what they are doing, and the little road that they have to take to
Mm.
go to search for an emotion. And so I was totally confident on their talent, but I really want them to stay kids. So I cast two other kids that were not professional at all. They were never on a set before. So they were just there to have fun. And they, you know, kids with kids, they are so much more influenceable. They influence each other
Each other,
much
yes.
more than we are able to do it as adults. So I just create this little microcosm where they would have to be their real themselves, because the two other one will do that. So that was, well, it communicates something really natural. And they knew that when they were on their difficult scene, we will give them enough time to just um, play what they have to play. And it was also really important for me that they were just looking for the right emotion, not the words. So
Mm.
I took back, I eliminate mostly all the dialogue, the written dialogues for them. And I really reworked on really just the feeling, and we had some rehearsal before too. And yeah, it was just a mix between they really know what they have to play, but they were able to make that in their words and to be just in the moment with no pressure.
Absolutely, and they're all phenomenal, and that actually takes me again to the next question, because something that I noticed in the film is that most of it, if not the entire film, is shot with a handheld camera, but that Julie and Denis are often shot and captured in very specific and very distinctive way. There are moments in which the camera is somewhat static as it zooms in on them or on their faces, especially when Denis performs White Christmas. So what was the intention behind shooting them specifically in this way?
That's a so fun conversation. Thank you, Luca.
Of course.
Yeah, I used the zoom with Julie and Denis in those really specific moments when I wanted to point like, okay, now there's something in their mind and heart and the way they see life, which is changing. And I think that the zoom is just like, it allows us to go deeply in the mind of the character. It's not the same way, like I didn't want to go like to walk because it implies that we as an audience are walking like closer to them. It's really to go deeper, not closer, deeper, to dive into their psyche.
Yeah, psyche, yes,
And
exactly.
psyche. And yeah, it just marks that, oh, now there's something happening inside them. And also I prefer the arm held camera to the
steady cam.
Steady cam.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, all good, all good. It's a lot of words.
A word that I use in English all the time. That's the only word that I used to say in English and never in French, but it's the word that I forget. Well, I prefer that because I really wanted the movement to be unperfect. And I think that when you go in an environment where that everyone knows, like everyone, it's universal. We know what it is to be surrounded by a family and to be in a Christmas party or any other family party. It's like it's not soft. It's not some beautiful movement. You have to be in it's like a hand-to-hand contact.
Yeah.
Like, again, this warrior vocabulary. Sorry.
It's great. It's great.
But I think that it's that, and I thought that with a Steadicam it would make a distance between the audience and the character of the film, and I didn't want that. I want us to be immersed in this emotion and to go back to our childhood, and also maybe to go back to our heartbroken situation with Denis. And yeah, I think that was the main reason why I chose to the handheld camera.
Yeah, I think it absolutely fits to the film, and I really love the scenes in which it also zooms in on the faces. I think, as you said, you really get into their mindset or of these characters, or you see that something is happening in their heads, and I think that was just incredibly fascinating. And I think that's a perfect note to end on. I hope many more people get to watch this film. I think it's going to resonate with many. Everyone who's out there watching, please make sure to subscribe to Gold Derby and keep up to date with us throughout this season. Annie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Luca. Thank you, everyone.